Hey guys, how's it going? As you all know, I'm a movie fanatic just like all you, and there are a lot of movies that I would really like to happen, and one of those movies is A Bug's Life 2. But this video is going to be negative. So, these are the reasons why A Bug's Life 2 will probably never happen. Not saying that for sure, I hope that I'm proven wrong and that Pixar does surprise us with an announcement, hey, we're making A Bug's Life 2. We'll all get hyped up for it, but I don't think it's happening. So it's not a top five. It's just basically going over the reasons why it won't happen. So the obvious reason is that it's Pixar's forgotten movie. Pixar just doesn't seem to care about A Bug's Life, and that's one of the big issues. If they did want to make a sequel to A Bug's Life, they probably that probably wouldn't be their first choice. They would probably rather do a sequel to Coco or Inside Out or heck another Toy Story movie. Pixar is a studio that is sadly owned by Disney, and Disney wants big bucks. The sad fact is, A Bug's Life is one of Pixar's least grossing movies. It earned $300 million. In fact, over that. But to Pixar, that's the lowest for them. That's A Bug's Life's numbers were like The Good Dinosaurs numbers and Cars 3 numbers. I mean, if you take into account something like Finding Nemo almost made $1 billion. And every single Pixar sequel that has come out, with the exception of Monsters University and the Cars sequels, most of them have crossed the $1 billion mark. Finding Dory, Incredibles 2, Toy Story 3 and 4. So I don't think that they would want to make A Bug's Life 2 right away. If they wanted to do it, it would probably be right after they considered making a sequel to Coco. Another contributing factor to why we may never get A Bug's Life 2 is the fact that some of the original voice actors have passed away. The voice for Mr. Soil, Heimlich Joe Ranft, a legend of Pixar, Phyllis Diller, who did the Queen Ant, um, the actor and actress that did Manny the Mantis and Gypsy the Moth, they passed away. And, unless they get some new actors and actresses, which they probably would if they did make a sequel, um, that's one of the major dents in A Bug's Life 2 ever happening. But it's not so major that they can't just fix that. They could always find actors and actresses that sound just like the originals. Um, so yeah, that's a major issue, but not too major. Um, you'd also have to question the the kind of numbers that A Bug's Life 2 would bring Pixar if they did make it. I mean, take, for example, something like Incredibles 2, where fans were just crying out for Incredibles 2. That's why Pixar made it. Brad Bird had no intentions of making a sequel, but fans everywhere were crying out. But there is a small fan base that's crying out for Bugs Life 2, but I don't think it's big enough that would get Pixar's attention and say, hey, they really want this. This will do really well. If we make this, this will definitely break records and give us some big bucks. I don't think that A Bug's Life 2 would actually perform as well as something like Finding Dory or Incredibles 2. Because, let's face it, a lot of people aren't familiar with A Bug's Life because it's literally Pixar's forgotten film. Now, if they did make A Bug's Life 2, I would definitely go see it. I'd be the first in line there. But I don't really think it would do that well. Not as well as Finding Dory or the Toy Story sequels or Incredibles 2. Probably the biggest issue though, people prefer ants over Bugs Life. That's this probably puts this is probably a bad memory for Pixar, and they just want to move on from it. Maybe Pixar doesn't like A Bug's Life. They just want to move on from it because it's actually a very painful memory. Because this is the first time that DreamWorks would rival Pixar, and they felt betrayed this time because Katzenberg was very close to the company and to Lasseter. So maybe this just is an all too painful reminder, and they just don't want to revisit that time that they got betrayed by a dear friend. I don't think Pixar. In fact, I think Pixar hates A Bug's Life for that because it reminds them of the day that their friend ran out on them, betrayed them, and just flat out spit in their face. So, those are the reasons why I don't see A Bug's Life 2 ever happening in the future. Now, I really hope Pixar proves me wrong, and maybe in a couple of years they announce A Bug's Life 2. If Soul bombs, that is. And that's the thing, maybe Pixar is going to go back to sequels. They said they weren't after Toy Story 4. They're just going to do originals from now on. But Onward bombed. I'm kind of hoping Soul bombs because, they did have an interesting concept, but it's the story, it's not as smart as it could have been. But that's another video for another day. Um, so I know it's kind of mean of me to wish that a film bombs, but I just really want A Bug's Life too. Um, so yeah, they may go back to sequels if Soul bombs, and I mean, if it succeeds at the box office, then good. I'll probably think that some aspects of it are good, but anyway, what do you think? Do you think A Bug's Life 2 will ever happen, or do you agree with all the reasons I just stated? Let me know down in the comments below. I'll see you guys later. And let me know if you want A Bug's Life 2. I know I do. See you guys.